Good evening from Washington. Out of an abundance of caution, White House counsel Greg Craig says at this hour that President Obama tonight re-swore the oath of office in the map room at the White House. Is this going to be a daily thing? Meantime, in our fifth story in the countdown, if in the office pool you picked only one day until the Republicans started obstructing the new president from the urgent business of tackling the enormous problems facing this country, you win, or constitutionally you lose. So much for bipartisan cooperation and Obama's appeal that it's time to move forward. Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee today forcing the panel to delay a vote on sending Eric Holder's confirmation as Attorney General to the floor of the Senate by a week. The ranking Republican on the committee, Arlen Specter, saying he wanted to cooperate with President Obama, but, quote, there was a unanimous view that there had been insufficient time to question Mr. Holder. What kinds of questions do Republicans want to ask? Questions about torture, having already established at Mr. Holder's confirmation hearing that he believes waterboarding is torture. They now want to have reassurances that the Obama administration will not pursue any torture prosecutions. Republican John Cornyn of Texas saying this afternoon that he wants, quote, some assurances that we're not going to be engaging in witch hunts, adding that he would place a Senate hold on the Attorney General nominee if he has to in order to get his questions answered. The chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Pat Leahy, expressing disappointment this afternoon, to say the least.
Request has been made by the Republicans to hold the nomination over for 1 week. I am extremely disappointed, but they have that right, and this historic nomination is held over. We will stand in recess subject to call of the chair.
Also, breaking news tonight involving the Senate, perhaps the open Senate seat vacated today officially by Hillary Clinton. More on her later. The New York Times is reporting at this hour that her replacement will not be Caroline Kennedy. The paper is saying that Mrs. Kennedy today called Governor Patterson to ask that her name be withdrawn from consideration. That is a one-source story and has not yet been confirmed. Let's turn now to Eugene Robinson, columnist, associate editor of The Washington Post. Good evening again, Gene.
Evening, Keith. Weren't we all supposed to get a day off after yesterday? I guess not.
This was your day off. Speaking of that, going to the Holder nomination and this delay, why do Republican nominees like Mukasey and before him Gonzalez, why do they get to play it coy, evasive, if you want to use the unpleasant term, before a Senate committee, yet a Democrat like Holder does not, and all of a sudden there's a 1 week delay and we don't have an Attorney General?
Well, it is rather absurd. I mean, you're not going to get a guy who's going to be confirmed as the nation's chief prosecutor to make a definitive statement on what he will or will not prosecute, absent a case to look at or facts to look at. So they're never going to get what they say they want. This is about a demonstration, I think, of what the Senate can do, and they have decided that Eric Holder's nomination is a designated piñata this time around. I can't make any other sense of it, because in the end, I'm confident he will be confirmed.
The Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, no less an authority than he, because as a former attorney in the JAG Corps, you would think he would know this stuff pretty well. He said today that asking for a unilateral statement on this is, as you just suggested, unreasonable. How is it that has his era of the perhaps bipartisan or at least reasonable Republican, is that already out the window, and the John Cornyns of the world are in charge?
You know, that's an interesting way to look at it, Keith. If you think what is happening to the moderate Republicans in Congress in general, well, they're disappearing. There aren't that many of them left, and the Republicans who are left in both houses, with a few exceptions, tend to be on the very conservative side, the side that is perhaps becoming marginalized by the result of this election and by what's happening in the country right now.
Is it just a coincidence that Mr. Cornyn is in charge of fundraising for Republican senatorial candidates, and perhaps he's trying to make it look like that's a reasonable investment for your campaign dollar?
I think it's not a coincidence, and I think it gives him a higher profile, and perhaps is a bone to throw to the conservative base of the party. After all, you can't just let all the nominees sail through. You have to jump up and down and make a stink about somebody. And again, it seems as if they decided the Holder nomination is the one. Although they did hold up Hillary Clinton for a day, so I think actually the office pool on how long it would take to obstruct should have have been 0 days.
That's right. Yes, it was -1, in fact.